Hey everybody, welcome to the world of weather after a very crazy busy morning with severe weather moving through the area. And I'm going to talk a little bit about where we are right now as far as that severe weather threat. But then we're going to continue with our lesson on world of weather. And I've got my two helpers here. Do you want to tell everyone what your names are and how old you are?
Annalise, and I'm 8 years old.
Okay, don't touch the microphone. Okay, what about you, Lucas?
I'm 7
And your mommy's helper?
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about summer heat. And at first he wasn't very interested. And then I said, Lucas, we're going to learn about why you sweat, why kids sweat. And he was like, oh, and he ran upstairs. Do you ever wonder why people sweat or how it happens? You didn't?
I do. I already know.
Oh, you already know? So we're going to talk all about sweat, heat, how hot it gets in a car. But first, let me update you on what's happening right now with the severe weather threat. Because I do have really good news here. And that is we're pretty much... Tornado watch still remains until 4 o'clock, but only for the southernmost counties. Oops, sorry, I keep hitting this phone. And even that's coming to an end here pretty shortly. As you can see, all of Metro Atlanta has been removed from that tornado watch. That does continue until 4 o'clock. And I really think the rest of these counties here will be removed shortly. It's not going to continue until 4 o'clock as that threat continues to come to an end. There's that line of rain. Notice still seeing a warning near Macon, south of Eatonton, but here in Atlanta, we're in the clear. So all of this, it's my touch screen there, no longer under that threat of severe weather. So we're still seeing some storms in Eatonton, in southern Spalding County, still seeing some stormy conditions there. But again, that big threat of line of very strong damaging winds. In fact, we had winds near 70 miles an hour. That has now come to an end. So I wanted to update you on that. Didn't want to forget about what's on the top of everyone's mind. We did have a lot of wind reports, especially across Peachtree City, near Griffin as well, in Spalding County. And we're going to have much more on that starting at 4 o'clock on CBS 46. But first we need to get to our world of weather. I'm going to make everyone dizzy with my helpers. So we're going to put this back in position here. And we're going to do a little refresher about summer and summer heat. So we have our globe here. Okay. And you guys both did the summer lesson about, oh no, you didn't, about the seasons. So we're going to talk a little bit about, so the earth is tilted. Annalise, can you find the United States of America on the globe?
Facing that way?
Sure. Do you see it?
There.
Okay. So is it on the top half of the globe or on the bottom half of the globe? Top half of the globe. Okay, so that's important to note because the earth is tilted at 23.5 degrees. And when we get into the summer months, the sun is directly over the Tropic of Cancer, which is right here. So if the sun is shining right here at the Tropic of Cancer, we'll put it there so you can see the United States. Does that mean the United States is closer to the sun or further from the sun? So the sun in the spring is in the middle of the earth. It's at the equator, but once we get into summer, the sun is now on the top half. It's over the tropic, so it's warmer. So the closer we are to the sun, the warmer it is, right? Mm-hmm. And what do you think happens the further we are from the sun?
It gets really, really, really cold.
Yeah, it gets cold. So it's all about the season. So we're going to talk about the summer months in today's world of weather. We already talked about why summer happens, when it happens, and why it gets so hot because the sun is closer. So the closer you are to the sun, the hotter it is. The further you are from the sun, the colder it is. Does that make sense? Yes. So let's talk about summer in Georgia. Is it hot in the summer in Georgia?
Yes.
How hot?
Really hot.
Really hot. What do you think? And I'm going to let you each guess, and you can guess at home as well. Put your guesses on our Facebook feed here. What do you think the hottest day ever recorded in Georgia was? How hot? Let's let Lucas go first. What do you think was the hottest it's ever been in Georgia? Can you guess?
100?
No. 100 is a really good guess. Do you have a guess, Lucas? No? The hottest it's ever been in Georgia is 106 degrees.
Oh my gosh!
And that's the actual temperature. That's not even the heat index, because we do heat index too. We talk about when it's really humid, it feels even hotter. But that was the actual temperature. That was on June 30th, 2012. It got up to 106 degrees at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. So we're going to talk much more about the summer. I'm going to go over these slides with you, and I hope you will learn along with us. For today's weather, we are learning about summer in Georgia, and summer is coming sooner than you think. Oh, I need to get this tripod fixed. It's very flimsy. Okay, So here we go, learning about summer in Georgia. There's that little fan because you know we need a fan, summer in Georgia. So we talked about summer happens when the sun is directly over the Tropic of Cancer, so directly over the northern hemisphere, and it happens on June 30th. That's the date when the sun is directly over the Tropic of Cancer. And the average high temperature in the summer is a lot hotter. That's because we're closer to the sun. Remember, the closer we are to the sun, the hotter it is. In June, the average temperature is 86.4 degrees. That's pretty warm, right? In July, the average high temperature, so this is the average. Some days it's hotter, some days not as hot, 89.1 degrees.
Does average mean like at least that
No,
much?
the average means the middle. So when you take all the days in July, all the high temperatures, and you get the average, it's 89.1. So that is the average temperature in July. In August, the average high is 88.1 degrees. So looking at that, what is the hottest month of the year in Atlanta,
July.
in Georgia? What is it?
July.
July. What is the average high in July?
89.1.
Very good. So the summer months are the hottest months. The hottest is July. Almost 90 degrees is the average high temperature. So this is the one Lucas was interested in. Why do we sweat? Why do you think we sweat?
Because our body inside, it's hotter than our body temperature.
So we need to cool off, right? It's all about cooling off. Well, our bodies like to stay near 98.6 degrees. So when you take your temperature with a thermometer, it's 98.6 degrees. That's what our body likes to stay at. But when we're outside playing in July, let's say it's 95 degrees out, our body gets really hot. So when our body temperature rises, we need to sweat. Sweat is basically little water droplets coming out of your skin. And your body does it by itself. It knows it needs to do it because when that water evaporates off your skin, it actually makes you feel cooler. So do you notice that when you start sweating, you start feeling a little bit cooler?
I feel hotter.
You feel hotter? What about you, Lucas?
Hotter.
You feel hotter. Well, it actually makes you feel cooler. It draws the heat out of the body. It's called evaporative cooling. It's kind of like when you jump in a pool and then you get out, how you get cold because you're wet. It's the same concept. Even when it's hot outside, you get out of a pool, you feel cold. That's because you have water on your skin and you have evaporating cooling. It basically evaporates on your skin and it cools you down. But when it's really humid outside on muggy days, sweat fails to evaporate from your skin. So it leaves you warmer and you feel really sticky. That's why we have the heat index. So if it's hot and humid, it feels even hotter than if it's just not hot. That's why we don't like humidity. Did you notice in the car it gets really hot if you're in the car?
Yeah.
If the air is not turned on? This is going to show you how hot it gets in the car and how fast. That's why we always have that rule. You can't be in the car with the car turned off ever, 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 because it's very, very dangerous. Let's say it's 70 degrees outside, which is actually a really nice day. In 10 minutes, it's 90 degrees inside the car.
But how does it get hot in the car?
Because you're trapped. There's no air circulation, and it just gets hot, hot, hot. It builds
From
up
the
the
windows?
temperature. From being inside the car, the air can't escape. So it gets hot. Basically, you get baked inside the car. In 30 minutes, it's 104. In 60 minutes, it's 112 degrees inside the car.
That's
So
even hotter than
an oven. Well, maybe not than an oven, but that's very, very hot. So that's on a 70-degree day. Now on an 80-degree day, look how hot it gets. In 10 minutes, it's 99 degrees. In 20 minutes, it's almost 110 degrees. In 30 minutes, it's 114 degrees. In an hour, 123 degrees. So even 10 minutes in a car when it's 80 outside.
What if it's 100 degrees?
So that's funny you ask. We're going to go up to 90. So remember, the average high temperature in July in Georgia is 90 degrees. So in 10 minutes, it's 109 degrees. In 20 minutes, it's almost 120 degrees. In 30 minutes, it's 124 degrees. In 60 minutes, it's 133 degrees.
What about, can you go to 100?
I can't go to 100 because it's never really 100 outside. Sometimes it is, but it's not very often. So we did 70, 80, 90 because that's when it affects most people. But the number one rule, you never, ever, ever are in a car with the door shut, with the air turned off, or animals. You never want to leave a puppy dog in the car either because it will get very hot very fast. So certain things happen to your body when you get really hot, except for just sweating and except for wanting a drink of water. We have something called drink water. You're just not feeling right. because that happens sometimes, especially if you're playing sports outside. Whereas heat stroke can be very dangerous. You can get very sick from heat stroke. So this
What is heat?
So this is how you know the difference. Heat stroke is your head hurts really, really, really bad and you stop sweating because your body can't even sweat anymore because it's that dangerous. You're red, you're hot, you have dry skin, and your heart beats really, really fast. On the other hand, when you have heat exhaustion, you feel dizzy, you're still sweating, but your skin actually feels cool and pale. You have a rapid, weak pulse, your muscles start cramping. Have you guys ever had a muscle cramp? Or a Charlie horse? They hurt really bad, right?
No.
That's heat exhaustion. Heat stroke, you need to call 911.
What? How is it
Because
so
you might
dangerous?
start to faint because your body's too hot and it can't cool down fast enough. But usually you're only going to get heat stroke if you're stuck in a car or if you're outside doing a sport and it's very, 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 very hot.
Like on the highest, like in 2012, like if you were like playing a sport for like an hour, you would
Correct.
probably get it.
Correct, yes.
Or in a car.
Or in a car. But with heat exhaustion, you want a cool air, you want to go inside, drink lots of water, take a cold shower, you can take a cold bath. That will make you feel better as well. Now we're going to talk a little bit about Atlanta because if you notice when we do the high temperature in Atlanta, it's always hotter than some of the other cities, than Marietta or Alpharetta or Lawrenceville or Peachtree City. Not always, but it often is. That's because we're an urban heat island. And it basically means Atlanta is a big city and we have lots and lots of concrete. We don't have that many parks. We have some. We have Piedmont Park and we have some parks, but we have a lot of concrete compared to being out in the country or being out of the city. So what happens is all of that concrete absorbs the heat. So does the steel and the brick. And it makes it very, very hot. And then we get ozone or smog. Whenever we have a code orange air quality alert day or a code orange or code red, it's because it's very, very hot. We talk about ozone in Atlanta very often. Ozone it's so hot it bakes the pollution and it's almost trapped over the city of Atlanta. And we have air quality alert days if you have asthma, if you have breathing problems, or those who are sick, maybe their lungs aren't working 100%. They need to avoid exercising outside or playing sports outside or going to the park outside on ozone alert days. And the worst ozone is always in the late afternoon and early evening. That's when it's at its worst. That's because that's when it's the hottest. So the pollution builds up and it's bad air quality. So you're breathing in pollution and dust and you're breathing in the car exhaust and you're breathing in what all the factories have in the pollution, and it's not good for your lungs. So you don't want to be exercising and breathing in that air. You want clean air. You don't want yucky air, right? So that's what an air quality...
Does it make it hotter?
Make it hotter, but it makes the ozone builds up across places like Atlanta. That's why it always includes all of Metro Atlanta. And when we have a code orange air quality alert day, it's based on the amount of people, the pollution, and the heat. So for Atlanta.
So they all get more snow in the winter?
Doesn't mean they get more snow in the winter, but it does mean they're colder at night in the winter. They have colder nights in the winter and in the summer. Oh, can you not see me? Let's see if it comes back. Oh, you can hear me, but my picture is frozen. Hopefully it will come. Okay, it's back. So here's our trivia question. What is the hottest temperature recorded for Atlanta? 100?
106.
Do you know what the answer is, Lucas?
106.
106. You got. Remember when it was 106?
2012.
2012. What month? Do you remember? It was the very end of June. June 30th, 2012. Lucas and Annalise, do you have any questions about the heat?
No. Yeah.
Summer? You do? What?
Why, like in Brazil and Florida, it's hotter like through the whole year instead of not just summer?
Okay. So, the reason she's asking about Brazil specifically, our babysitter is from Brazil. So we always talk about the weather and the differences between Brazil and the U.S. and how it's the opposite. And in our first lesson where we talked about the seasons, The United States is in the northern hemisphere, whereas Brazil is in the southern hemisphere. So the reason it's opposite is because the Earth is tilted. So when the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, like it is in the summer months, what's happening to Brazil? Are they further from the sun?
Yeah, but they're still hot.
No, because they're way down here. They're pointed. See how the Earth is tilted? It's not up and down. See how it's tilted? So the sun is over here. Look how far they are from the sun. Where are they? Where's Brazil? So the sun is on the Tropic of Cancer. So they're much further. But in the opposite, when it's winter here for North America, the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, or Capricorn, which is right here, almost smack dab over Brazil. So they're getting very hot, whereas we're on the other side and we're cold. So they have opposite seasons.
But Florida's close to Georgia, and Georgia's like cold.
So why is Florida hotter than Georgia? Is that the question? Because Florida is closer to the equator. So Florida is closer to the equator.
But we're like right next to Florida.
We are next to Florida, but even if you go to places a little bit further from us, Virginia, they're much cooler than us, but they get hot in the summer as well. But Florida is closer to the sun. The closer you are to the sun, the hotter it is. So all the countries closest to the sun are hotter than those places further from the sun. So New York City, Boston, they don't get as hot as we do here in Georgia because they're further from the sun. So the closer you are to the sun, the hotter it is. The further from the sun, the cooler it is. Do we have any questions, Tim? Okay. So the question was, we had a very warm March, if that means the summer is going to be warm as well. And not necessarily. You'll notice with weather pattern, we have a lot of patterns and ups and downs. And yes, we have some years that are warmer than others and some that are cooler than others. But you look at history as a whole, and we have a lot of variations. As far as the summer goes, we probably will be a little warmer. And when you look at the models out the next 30 days, it does look like we are going to be above average as far as temperatures go. So it could be a warmer summer, but it doesn't mean we're going to have these excessive heat warnings or these days like we did in June 30th, 2012, where we'll get up to 106, but certainly definitely could be warmer. And it's at least going to be a warmer April as we head into the month of April. Do you have other questions, Tim? Yes, so we're asking questions about the heat and the ozone layer. Certainly the ozone layer is still there. It does keep us warm and protects us. But certainly, of course, we need to watch out. We always talk about recycling and doing things to help the environment, right? Or carpooling, because all those things help preserve the ozone. And it's good for the environment. So we're really good about recycling, right? What kind of things do we recycle?
The cans that Daddy drink out of.
Cans and water and milk jugs. Those all recycle. And cardboard and cereal boxes. Yep. So everyone does our part. So please recycle. Definitely it helps the environment.
And the boxes that, like the cracker boxes.
And the cracker boxes.
And every food.
Do you have other questions, Tim? Or else she's going to list everything we recycle in our entire house. But it goes to show we recycle everything, right? We're good recyclers.
And you can probably recycle that.
So the question was, why does it rain more in the summer? And actually our wettest months are in the spring. That's when we have most of the rain. October is our driest month, but you're probably thinking of those afternoon showers and thunderstorms. We get them almost every day. And that's just because the hotter it is, the more unstable it is. Warm air rises, and we've talked about that in the past. Warm air rises, so you get these pulse thunderstorms, these pop-up showers and thunderstorms very often in the summer months. When it's 90 degrees outside, that warm air rises quickly, and you get those pop-up showers and thunderstorms. So yes, it does rain a lot in the summer. We actually get more of it through the spring months when you look at actual rainfall totals, but it has to do with the heat. The hotter it is, the faster you get that hot air rising, that instability. We call them convective thunderstorms, and we see those in the summer months. But we see them a lot in the spring as well. You saw today we got plenty of rain over all of North Georgia. Am I boring you? I saw that yawn.
I have a question.
Yes.
What are these? Those on the globe? Those degrees.
When will the pollen get better? That's an actually very good question. So March and April is when we have the highest amounts of pollen over Atlanta. So it should get better. I think we've hit our peak. We had nearly 8,000 pollen count on Sunday, which was the second highest pollen count we've ever had. On Monday, it was in the 7,000 range. That was the sixth highest pollen count we've ever had. So this is the peak right now. This is the worst of it. So this is when you really need to take your allergy medication, but it is going to get better. March and April are the peak pollen months. It's still going to remain high through April, although it will start to taper off. By May, we should be in the clear. But again, it's seasonal allergies. So although it's not as high, those levels, we still have other pollens throughout the year, like October. We have other pollens like grass pollen that will affect us. So it really depends on what you're allergic to. Right now it's tree pollen, but later in the year it could be grass pollen, although those levels never get as high. But I think that's it for questions. I hope everyone enjoyed.
Question.
What's your question?
Like on this side, there's like higher numbers for the degree, and on this side it's lower, and I don't even know what those numbers mean.
So she's asking about the latitude and the longitude on the globe. So we're going to answer that offline because we're just talking about summer heat. And we're going to let everyone get back to work because you have a ton of schoolwork. Lucas still has to write.
I already finished.
You finished? Okay, Lucas still has to write in his journal.
No, he did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. So we're going to let Lucas go because he has to go write in his journal. I know all you kids at home have a lot of schoolwork to get through for today. So glad you joined us to talk about summer heat in Georgia. We have really exciting lessons coming up. By Friday and Monday, we're talking about snow. See, Lucas is so bored. He just dipped out. Typical. Everyone, thank you for joining us for World of Weather. I hope you enjoyed learning about summer heat. We'll see you here tomorrow at 1:15. Everyone have a great day. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye.